what just happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Ooh. Uh, oh, yes.
Yep. Doing well. Thanks for having me today.
Mwah. I am doing fantastic, JD. It's great to have the best ref in the USA on the podcast today. So, yeah, it's exciting. I'm glad you two could put your differences aside because our friend JD here is a Ohio State Buckeye, and Rafa, of course, is a U of M Wolverine. So hopefully things don't get too contentious here on today's episode. But well, I'll play mediator if they do. A painful reminder.
Okay. Yeah. So my whole history with Michigan, you know, um, Michigan is a strong school for the arts. Um, Very on the top 10, I would say, in the country. So that drew my attention to audition there. And
Where are you from originally?
I was born in Brazil,
All right.
in the middle of nowhere in Brazil, like farm countryside, and moved to near the São Paulo, big city, São Paulo, to attend a conservatory. I am a musician. I play trombone and I teach music. That's what I do for, uh, you know, as
A
my main.
referee, a musician, real Renaissance man here.
Yeah, it helps. It helps blowing the whistle.
That
you know,
makes
I,
sense.
I've I've heard a lot of people saying like, "Man, you whistle so loud that we can hear you from 5 miles away." And I was like, "Well, I play trombone for 8 hours a day, so I think that helps quite a bit." Yeah. Oh yeah. And yeah, so I auditioned in Michigan, and I got a full ride, and uh, I was choosing between the San Francisco Conservatory and the University of Michigan. Um,
Ah,
and
eat that, San
given
Francisco. He chose Michigan over you guys. So,
um, yeah, not very many people know that, but I did choose Michigan over the San Francisco Conservatory for a few reasons. Just so the school had a lot more to offer to me, and I thought that being closer to Chicago, New York, as a musician would make more sense for me as well. But previously, before moving to Michigan, I live in Arizona, where I attend the University of Arizona for my bachelor's degree in Tucson. Very hot and awesome, beautiful place. And during that time frame of 4 years, I did not do handball at all. I was very focused on getting my stuff together, figuring out what I wanted to do with my career. And for that period of time, I did not do any handball except for watching matches on TV, but I was not involved with literally with anything except for the ending of my last year where I just decided to pick it up again with the referee career, and I it came along that I really wanted to do this for real, to become a referee in a high level, and ever since I'm just working hard towards that goal. And but before uh, Arizona, I lived 1 year in Columbus, Georgia, uh, attending Columbus State University for I was like in an intensive English program, also doing music too. But before that, coming backwards, I was in Brazil in a conservatory where I was involved with handball, still playing handball. I started playing handball when I was 8 years old in my town. I fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of teams around where we were able to have competitions, and I was able to play through all my school, until high school. I was able to participate in competitions, and that was a lot of fun. And when I moved away from where I was born to closer to St. Paul, that's where I got a little started with refereeing. So that's where I get started with my clinics and reading the rule books and merging the whole thing. When I moved to the US, I completely stopped doing handball for almost 4 years, and then when I got back to Michigan, I started with fire.
Whoop, whoop. There we go. Well, hey, Rafa, I'm just curious because I've always heard that there's a team in Phoenix, and I just never see anything out of there. And I know that there's a tournament. Maybe can you tell us more
Yeah,
about what the scene is like in the American Southwest as far as handball goes?
yeah. So yeah, Phoenix used to have a team back in the day, like a few years ago. They competed in the nationals, but currently, because of just they don't have the amount of players to make to practice, and I think the commitment there is just a little weak compared to other big clubs around there. And they do host a annually event called the Valley of the Sun um,
Yeah, yeah. I see
tournament,
it, like I see that
which
every year, but I just
yeah,
don't know anyone.
which I participated the last 2 years. I always go there. Peter is a good friend of mine. He's the is a German guy who who's been living in Phoenix for many years, and he is taking care of that club. They don't have a regular practice. So, but when it's close to the tournament, they always find the guys around, put together a team, and then play. And the level there is it's just pretty nice. Cal Heat comes, LA comes, the Air Force guy comes. This
It's a
last year
qualifier
we
for
have
nationals, right?
huh?
It's a qualifier for nationals, like it's an official tournament, right?
Yes, yeah, it's in a sanctioned event. I'm not so sure how it qualifies to the nationals. I'm not very familiar with that, but yeah, this past year we had a couple teams from Alberta, so the level there was nice. Yeah. So it was Cal Heat against Alberta, and LA. They brought some players from Mexico, amazing players. So there was fire. Very very nice level of handball. Very fun to referee those kind of matches.
That's awesome, man. Whoa. Oh, all right, Mishi. Bold words coming from so that sounds like a challenge. That gotta listen on the court.
passion. To be completely honest, my referee,
Hell yes.
it's comes truly from passion. I really love the you know that experience. It you know I had my moments playing. I got to participating in a gazillion events, and I got hurt a lot. Um, but the first time that I ever raft, like didn't know any hand signs, so it was like really all over the place. But then I started to understand pretty quick, the how it's done, and then I got very good comments from colleagues and saying like, hey, you should think about pursuing this, but it comes from passion, truly.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's very difficult to referee a match where from the first 5 minutes I already know who knows roles or have a little bit of understanding. um, I think my advice, as I think, as I take this as a theme and as a philosophy, I think we have to be very curious about things. We don't have to be focusing on things that we do as our career, or but if you're getting into handball, you should be curious to know about the rules of the game that you're practicing, that you're playing. And if you're a referee, you should be curious to know what it means to be a player, because it's pretty complicated if you're only a player, but if you don't understand anything from the referee side, and vice versa, right? If you're a referee, but you never, practice and play handball fully, so you don't understand, some concepts being there, and I think it's cool when you merge both of them, and that I think gives you a complete package. So I would say, as the best advice is just to be curious, curious to learn, curious to increase assets of your understanding of the game, which is amazing. Handball is amazing, and every day I find myself learning things that I thought I know, and or things that I never heard about.
Yeah, it takes a special kind of person to be a ref just in general. So to find somebody who is as passionate as you or JD or many other people is difficult. So I think we need to find other ways to incentivize refereeing aside from passion, right? We need to find practical, a little bit more pragmatic ways to get people to take the plunge. But I'm curious, Rafa, what do you think the state, like as it is right now, what's the state of referees for handball in the U.S.? Like, how many are there? Are they mostly expats? Like, just give us a little bit of a biopsy of where we are.
Yeah, yeah. We are in a moment where I'm spending a lot of energy with our work with our chief referee to give a little buzz on the refereeing side of the USA. But right now, I recently update the roster list, and I can say that we have 30 referees, which
That's
is
about 29 more than I thought we had.
yeah.
Definitely.
But out of those 30 referees, I sent out a form for them to fill out so I could get a little bit of data. And after looking at data, I got a graphic about in like the average age. We are about on the 45 to 50
Oh boy.
average.
Oh
So
my
that
God.
is
boy.
it is it's getting to the point
aging.
where yeah, IHF says when you get to 50, you're out. It's you physically can contribute beyond court. But of course our scenario here is a little different. But yeah, our efforts right now is recruiting. We are doing a strategy and making a lot of recruiting to get young folks involved and passionate about this, which has been really challenging. And with this clinic that we were able to have a partnership with the IHF, started like back in March. We started to have this discussion. Barry was the guy who was able to have that talk with IHF and us here, and we blended and then we got this from them. So it's 4 sessions right now. It's really basic, but we were definitely able to get a lot of people who sign up. I looked to the list today. We had like 250 people who sign up for it.
No way.
Jeez.
That's awesome.
So the next step after this session for me personally will be to follow up with these people. I want to know where they're at, their ages, their interests. So I want hardcore follow up to make sure that we don't lose them. We cannot afford to lose any of young people who might be just develop some passion about this. And I think out of those 250 people who sign up, there's a bunch of people who are outside of the U.S., of course, because it was internationally posted on the page. So of course, we're gonna have to filter some people who are not in the U.S. They can really contribute, but I trying to figure out a plan to make all those people involved in some ways. Make sure they are participating in the clinics that we put together here, not only for community here, but for everybody out there. But yeah, the plan is to follow up and see where we stand. I don't have much information about how many people out of those 250 people we're going to be able to, but if we can get at least 50, 75 people, that's
still
it's
progress,
plenty.
right?
Yeah, it's way more progress that we have done in this past few years.
Absolutely.
Rafa,
So out of the 30 people we have. Oh, go ahead, JD.
I was just going to say a couple things from the chat real quick before I cut Joey off there. Everybody's been very happy with the online Zoom course so far. Very informative. A lot of good things coming in the chat. I'll let you ask your question, Joey, and then Shane from Flint City has a question as well.
Hey, what's up, Shane? Rafa, so of the 30 people that are already refs, how many of those are like American born and raised? How many are expats?
Oh man. I have this list open here so I can kind of tell.
I was curious.
To be honest, out of this 30 people, if we have 8 people that was born and raised in America, it's a pretty big number. Most of the people in this record list are people who have been living in the U.S. for many years, but were not necessarily born here. But they have, and most of them have previous handball experience in Europe mostly.
And this is me just spitballing right now, Rafa. And once, obviously, nobody knows when competitions are really going to resume here, but it might be a good idea to just have a policy of pairing, new referees with the expats and the guys who had careers in Europe, right? So just an idea, because I feel like that's a good way to sort of impart the wisdom and the knowledge onto the next generation of.
I concur.
Yeah, we're planning to when we move forward. I'm sure JD knows about this. Our proposal, it's wandering the board right now. So we propose very, I would say, strong policies. But those what we're proposing are things that work anywhere else.
Right.
I've seen those in Brazil. I've seen those in Europe. They work, but here we having because of how our sport has grown, it's still figuring out how that can adjust. So with that in mind, we plan to be really active on the mentoring part of the young referees. It's very important to have them exposed to experienced referees, because they can learn. It's, of course, you learn a lot when you're working on with somebody who knows their stuff. But
folks, I think we are having some internet connection issues here. I want to also apologize for my audio. Thank you to Mishi for giving me the shout out that our audio had died. At least my audio had died, so I think we're back. We had a slight disconnection
there. You go. All right. Yeah. So I think it will be a good combination of pairing up with more experienced referees and with two young referees, but there's more experienced referees outside taking notes and giving constructive feedback. That'll be important. So that's one of the plans that we're aiming to make the level grow.
For sure.
Mishi wanted to say that they're incorporating that with their youth league in San Francisco right now with the kind of mentor-mentee program with referees. So it's definitely I think one that our viewers are a big fan of. So Rafa, I'll get back to Shane's question from earlier. He wants to know if, in your personal opinion, Rafa, how important it is for a formalized national handball league in the U.S. to grow in order to help boost the pool for referees.
Absolutely crucial, important. Absolutely important. It's we can compare to the big sports in America, NBA and NFL. They have regular leagues throughout seasons. Those games need referees. If you're not exposed to experience and be on the court, you won't grow what you need to have. You can read rules and watch videos all day long, but that will not you won't have that. Same. It's not the same. Exactly. It's not the same when you're in the court where you're applying that to the spot.
Definitely.
I would definitely love to see that in the US we would have a league. And of course, if that happens, which I believe will be possible in the future, then we're going to be in good shape, because we'll have referees being able to
a final destination
to those experiences all the time, and it will be a cycle. Old referees get out, new ones come in, just like in Europe. They have leagues. You must start on level 3, and then you go to level 2, level 1, and then you're ready to go to start being more considered to maybe a continental status and then international status. So, yeah. But in order for us from a referee perspective, to grow, a league would be very, very important as well.
I got a tailspin question off of that. You're in Miami right now, currently, correct? Is
I'm
that what?
in Orlando.
Orlando. Okay, so Orlando like has a kind of, I would say, developmental club right now. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with the club, but I gave some digging around to find out what they're
Okay.
doing. It seems it's on the grow. They're growing.
So let's say you stick around in Orlando for a little bit. Maybe you move back to Orlando once you finish up at U of M. What would you name the Orlando professional handball team?
The Disney World.
The Disney handballers.
uh,
Put you on
I mean,
the spot.
everything here is. Yeah, I mean everything here one's around Disney. You know. Maybe let's call it the celebration team handball.
Celebration team handball. Okay. Okay. I'm putting it down in my notes.
Well, you know what? I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate as far as the national league goes, and I like the question too. And ultimately, I think we all know that we all know the answer to the would it be good for the national league? But right now, I mean, to try to take a bite out of the elephant, to try to eat the elephant in one bite, I should say, of having a national infrastructure, I think is just we need to focus on what we can do in the short term right now, and just to have a regional league. And I know there's the Midwest League and there's the Northeast League, but those are just essentially a series of tournaments. In my experience, it's not so much a league as it is a series of weekend warrior tournaments. It'd be great to just have a normal league format for at least one of those, where it's Chicago comes to play Milwaukee for one game, one night, and then vice versa, a week later, not just sort of cram as many games as you can into a day and call that, the first installation of the league. It would just be great to see even that national format put into a more regional format.
So, yeah, but
that's my two.
Yeah, the problem that we face, the reality that we face here in the US, our teams consist of people who actually have jobs and don't play handball professionally. So
exactly.
to be fair, and to have competitions, regular competitions and consistent competitions, they will have to go missing probably days of work, and then I mean it's doable. It's doable on weekends, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not everybody can commit to weekends also. So yeah, we're in the line, right, where to have a higher level of leagues and competition, people would need to be a little more committed as well to make it work, to be consistent. But maybe I might be wrong, but my understanding is, people will always um, um, I lost my line, I thought, but I think that commitment from to go to the next step, it's very important. So are we ready to be able to do those? If that makes sense.
No, absolutely, yeah, and like you said, it's going to take people beyond just the teams to facilitate that. Especially, most importantly, the refs, in my opinion. That's one thing. The theme of today's episode is there's not enough people like Rafa out there, and we need to change that. So, yeah, we'll once you move back to Michigan here, we can solve that problem. But JD, do you have another question?
Yeah, there's a question in the chat, and I apologize because my chat's all wonky right now, so let me get this to load back in. Oh, son of a gun, it's not.
Have you ever considered? Oh, go ahead, JD.
Okay, so Mishi had a bit of a fire question, and to answer this however you want here, Rafa, but she says that the NRC has had the same leadership for a long time, and it has not changed very much. Why should we trust that NRC? That was her question.
Absolutely, yeah. I will give credit, you know, as we have been stationary on for a few years now, and that's been it hasn't created any momentum and any growth scenario, you know. But I cannot get into details right now. But and JD knows this because he's a board member, so he is seeing that we are changing, and we have proposed a fair amount of things that will be uncomfortable for clubs and leagues. They will be uncomfortable for them, and we will push no matter what in order to fix this problem, you know. And why should they trust? Because I was asked to join the NRC to bring a young mentality, a young working experience, and a young vision. And I have put a lot of effort and a lot of my time figuring out what's wrong, what hasn't worked, and talking with the people who who are in the leadership, and see what we can do. They agreed that we need to move forward, and we started it during this pandemic. If there's something that I could say that worked out very well for us in this particular situation is not having games allowed us to have an attempt to fix problems. Um, and it's hard to trust something that hasn't worked, or it hasn't been worked for a few years. I was not part of that until really recently.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I came in.
You're part of the solution.
Oh, I hope I can help change this, and I'm not a experienced referee per se.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been exposed to continental levels or international levels, but I will say this: my goal is to become an IHF referee, and I'm walking towards that. And I'm meeting people inside of the IHF, learning how they're operating, and how they do things, and I'm slowly proposing those changes for our own organization here. Um, if people don't give us a chance, we will stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
We can stay the same, or we can move forward. And I see NRC as a cycle from now on. Leadership changes. Because people get in and out. Of 10 years ago, the NRC was a little bit different. There were a lot of people, other different people involved in it. Those people, they're not there anymore. They just stepped out. They are enjoying life. They didn't want to do anything with handball anymore, and switched to a different leadership. And I believe that right now we're on a moment where we finding the change of the cycle again. And it's really hard to tell people, oh, trust us, and I'm not gonna say that, but what I will say is I'm working very hard and putting a lot of effort and a lot of energy in my own time, which I do not get paid to do, but I do because I love the sport and I want to help change this in the country. So we will move forward and we'll see. if it works, which I strongly think we will, and we'll slowly be able to, having this working properly, you know. And if we fail, we fail. And I'll say I'll try it again. I'll try again.
Try again.
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah,
You're a
Mishi.
young man too, so we got plenty of time.
Mishi said that she, and I quote, "I think Rafa is the future for the NRC." And as you alluded to, there's going to be some changes with the old. So I think that's what kind of Mishi was alluding to, is that kind of a cycling of leadership to, get more fresh young faces like yourself involved with the refereeing program. And at that kind of high level, it'll help, spread some good all around for all the referees. So we're approaching 1 minute left on our first half of the session here. So I'm going to say we go ahead and hit the break unless you guys got any.
Commercial break.
Okay, good. I'm gonna hit the break.
Brought to you by the NRC.
Not to be confused with the other NRC. So, all right, I'm gonna hit the break here, and I'm gonna end our Zoom call. I'm gonna start us back up. Everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. I really apologize for the start. I had no idea that my mic was down. And I was reading Mishi's messages like, what is she talking about? Pantomiming? Like, JD still? I was like, I don't know what she's talking about. And then Joey sent me a message saying how my mic was not working. So that was definitely a frustrating part to it. So thank you to Mishi and Joey for getting the mic situation back and figured out. As always, we'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Anchor, who helps put our podcast out on many different platforms. So if you're unfamiliar with Anchor, go back, listen to our show on Spotify. There'll be a little blurb about Anchor there. As always, I want to give a nice shout out to Theramu. They sponsor the Columbus Armada and can handle all of your CBD needs. Also, KT Tape for all your kinesio tape desires. I know this has been a busy weekend for me. My wife's out of town, so I've been doing a lot of physical activity. We've got golf today, we've got a bonfire tonight, we've got basketball tomorrow, we've got some handball tomorrow, we've got some game night tomorrow. So we got a whole slew of activities. If you're in the Columbus area looking to do some fun times, come on down to JD Town. Yeah, I'd like to show we got all of Rafa's his Instagram account here. So there's a little picture of him doing some refereeing at the U.S. Olympic Training Center. So if you want to give Rafa a follow, I'm sure he'd appreciate that. Don't heckle him. We're all about not heckling the refs. So you can send him nice words of encouragement and suggestions in a nice manner. So everybody's back, so we're going to get right back to the action.
Your audio's coming through a little weird.
This audio, man. What is going on, friends and family? Son of a gun. Test, 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 test. Well, we're not muted. Is it still weird?
I can hear you okay, but it's like a little bit like weird. I don't know.
All right.
We can it's okay. We can roll with the punches here.
We'll figure it out. Anyways.
Well, awesome, man. Yeah, and you know what, Rafa? Curtailing sort of off of where we were what we were talking about. I think you're going to be a big driving force in the way handball referees are trained and recruited in the U.S. moving forward. So I'm very excited that we have you here in the U.S. It was truly the U.S. has gained and Brazil has lost when you decided to come over here. So very excited. And have you ever considered, this is, feel free to take this question wherever you want. Have you ever considered changing your name to, instead of Raphael, to Referee?
Oh. That's awesome.
Man, you got me.
Yeah.
I wonder how long we were spending time to come up with that.
It took me a while.
Man, amazing. Nice. I love it.
The Referee. Just think about it. Just think about it. And then once you start making T-shirts, just, send me a royalty check. That's all I ask.
I know, but I'll tell you this. I've heard my name being pronounced so many different ways that I think somebody probably already called me referee or something around those lines. But
High compliment.
oh, thanks. I'll definitely think about.
You being Brazilian, maybe like we could put that as your name on the back of your referee jersey, because kind of like Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Neymar, they kind of, it's always just a one name thing. So I think we could probably do that.
Nice.
When you referee our games, I think Joey and I can get that jersey made for you. So
for sure. So JD, do you have any more referee related questions?
Yeah. Is there like a favorite color that you like to wear? Like a favorite like referee color combo? Like, are you a yellow guy? Are you a black guy? Are you a white guy? Are you a pink guy? Maybe that cyan? Do you got a favorite color?
I love the black.
All black.
Full black referee uniform.
All black. Classic. Everything.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's it's like a I don't know if it works. I think referee uniform should be like that, But of course, we have to be very flexible. Sometimes teams will have black uniforms, and although the rule says that black uniform is reserved, or it doesn't say reserved, but says that is for. Let's say it's reserved for the referees. We tend to be very, very flexible, considering letting the clubs use the color that they want to use. That's, I think it's very nice collaboration there. But if I would like to choose a color, I'll definitely choose black.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know, because my coach, our first jerseys we ever had were all black. Black jerseys, black shorts, just one very small number on it. So good to know our first jerseys were illegal. So that's good. Mishi also says that you should just make referee your Instagram account, your Instagram handle.
Oh my!
Yeah, I think we're gonna run with this pretty nicely here. So you'll be
nice.
Definitely, if you aren't already the #1 referee in America, we will make you like well known that this is Rafael referee. So
a referee
I don't know.
Influencer.
I don't know if I'm the #1 of those. You were saying that, but I thought about making a referee account to having a little bit of educational purposes on it. A little bit of referee tip of the month or tip of the week or something around those lines.
On the TikTok game, man.
Yeah.
Because
I should.
TikTok, I don't know if you've ever used TikTok, but it's really actually pretty easy to like edit and make videos on there pretty quickly. So if you have all the video content, you can splice and add music overlay and text and things like that. So that could be a very easy platform. Then you could spread it out through your other accounts. So I kind of like this. I'm writing it down. Referee. Social accounts.
So Rafa, this is going to be a weird question. What was the worst officiated game you've ever seen in your entire life? You don't have to say the refs, but if there was like a game where you're like, oh, I saw, this team versus this team, and then what makes a bad referee?
That I've seen like in person.
Sure.
Oh man, in Brazil back then it was all over the map. Calls. It was like, what is that? But in the U.S., I have seen referees, calling a 7 meters when the foul was on the dotted lines, the 9 meter lines, and I was like, I'm not so sure about that, But that was in the Nationals, and it was funny, because it turns out that this person, it's a very good friend of mine, and we always joke around about that incident. I think what makes a bad referee is to think that you wanted to punish them or to, enforce something, or to be the principal role. I think that makes you just a terrible referee. I think
I'm a bad ref.
So when we come to court, I don't want to be noted, especially because if you make a bad call, people will remember you.
Mm-hmm.
And very few people will actually come to you and say, good job, because they were so focused on the game and the players and the plays that they, the referees goes by. And that's, I think, what I would say it's nice when we're able to just like enforce the rules, but not taking the stage, and also, be able to educate the players. I think that would make, more sense.
Absolutely. That's good advice. Not to be emotional when you're making calls, right? You just got to stay, enforcing the rules, but not vindictive. If somebody's giving you some lip, that's some good stuff. If you had, this is just a totally theoretical situation, but bear with me here. You have like 10 people who are about to referee nationals. Like, let's say just like all the other referees can't go. So you have to teach 10 people to referee. They're not going to get all the rules. So you have to teach them 3 calls that they should really focus on during the matches. So what 3 rules or calls would you tell them to focus on? Basically just the fundamentals of refereeing a handball game. What are the top 3?
Yeah. I would say that, they should be focusing on, letting the play goes by, or in other words, using the advantage rule. That's how we call it, I would say don't whistle every single action that you see, because sometimes the follow-up of that little action here ends up in a great pass here that, that's a goal, and then you destroy that. So I would say, be a little more sensitive about, how much you blow the whistle. Sometimes you don't have to blow the whistle at all. You just let things go. And then if something is about to go wrong, you be proactive beforehand and you be firm. Second, I would say protect the players. Protect the health of the players. Handball is very physical and there's a lot of contact in the sport. So getting somebody hurt is very easily. And once you can show that, what's allowed and what's not allowed, I think players will adapt to that, and then they will self-protect each other. They'll play cool with each other instead of, not just, get hit on a situation and just like create a fight or or just go harsh on each other. And third, I would say using common sense. You don't need to be counting steps all the time. Those steps can be felt. You know when they happen. You don't need to be 1, 2, 3, 4 on it. Or on a level of a foul. You need to be. You can easily identify. Oh, this is a strong foul, and I need to be firm. But I would say common sense.
Nice. That's some good stuff. So basically, just don't be too trigger happy with the whistle. Keep the player safe. If there's something that might be a little dangerous situation, take charge then, and then just kind of feel the game. And I think the best way to really feel the game is to watch a lot of handball, and then obviously referee a lot of games. So that's sound practical advice. I like that.
Yeah. It's not as easy to when you're a player and you watch games. Mm-hmm. You're really focusing on what the technique passes. The shooting. Those things are easy to pick it up. But it's when you watch games from a referee perspective, you always sometimes for me particularly, I always like, oh my God, I saw that, but I didn't think that this would be possible. So I feel like there's a delay from my thinking of what I'm seeing. So
absolutely. And there's kind of an interesting, like when I was playing overseas, like when you're playing a game, especially as like a goalie, for instance, like I would just see a play and then like know like, okay, like even if this guy shoots it, the ref's about to blow the whistle and it like won't count. But then like to now step back and be like, wait, like what's an actual foul? And like, because I have to kind of, obviously referee a few games, and here in Detroit. And so it's an interesting transition from being like, from knowing it intuitively and then being decisive enough to blow the whistle. JD, you got any referee questions?
Yes. Mishi in the chat wants to know, what is the one rule you wish players would read before playing handball?
Rule 8 and Rule 16.
Man, he's got the
Which
rule
is-
book down.
Rule 8 is called unsportsmanlike conduct and punishment, and 16 is punishment. It's all the other rules are the dimensions of the playing court, or how many people are allowed to be on the court, the substitution area. Those are pretty things that you pick it up pretty fast. But I think once you understand, because in my opinion, the essence of the game is there. When you have that one-on-one play, there's a lot of contact, so that's where the foul is going to happen. That's where somebody going to push your arm or push you. And if you understand those, you will probably come to a different approach when you're playing. Sometimes, coming from a player, sometimes you have to stop, no matter what. And sometimes you just go crazy, and then you just, a guy shooting, and then you just grab the arm. And then when you see, it's like, oh crap, I just got a red card because of that. But I think when people know Rule 8 and understand a little bit, the mechanics of, what they're allowed to do, and what if they do something, what punishment will come, through those. I think it changes, the mentality of, how you approach things, and maybe you'll be you have a better and refined technique as a defender, for example, in my opinion, right? If you're able to understand, how like we see a lot of that in basketball, about like drawing a charge, it's very, very simple, like if you're standing still in front of the circle, and you get hit, boom, charge, and handball is a little bit different, it's a little bit, it works a little different, but sometimes you can see that players, instead of just going crazy and just making fouls, they understand, what they can do to get, draw that contact and then get a offensive foul, for example. Those, I think, inside of those two rules lives very details that can help players to be more refined, in my opinion.
Good to know. I'll read up on those too, because I get stuck asking. People ask me a lot of like nitpicky questions, like you were referring to, and it's like just the more you watch games, the more you get kind of familiarized. You kind of pick up on things like that. But I think the number one rule that I get frustrated with, when I watch professional handball and when I referee games here in the States, is that anytime a guy breaks through to 6 and he's trying to fake out the goalie to get a cool goal, he always lands before he releases the ball. And no referee is going to call it because it was like beach. It was a cool goal, so we're going to let it happen. But I always call it. I'm like, the ball, I mean, we can go to the instant replay. The ball did not leave your hand when you hit the ground. And I'm going to call that every single time. And I get people yelling at me left and right. And the one guy, there was one, and this goes back to why I'm a bad referee, is because, I have that instance happen, and the guy comes up and confronts me about it. And now I've marked him as, I'm going to watch you even more closely when you do this now, because you've made a point to address this with me. I know what I'm doing here. Now you've basically walked yourself in a circle, which is why I'm a bad referee. So don't be like me. Be like Rafa, all our listeners. But it's something that I get very frustrated with, because I'll watch European matches and the refs don't care. Like, yeah, we all know that he can do that, but the nature of the rules is he landed. Like, done. If I'm allowed to land and still get the shot off because it looked cool, like, I'm going to be doing that all the time now. So that's something that I get kind of perturbed about.
I definitely agree. It bugs me as well when I see situations like that where, before releasing the ball, they're landing, and it's very clear, and it happens a lot on the line there with pivots. They have a very tendency to just like, once they get the ball and once you spin, they just like foul.
Yep.
because if they score, great. If they don't score, they draw 7 meters. So it's a tough thing, and it's sometimes I caught myself trying to tell players, like, hey, this is ain't gonna work with me if you keep doing this, yeah, but it's pretty annoying, in fact, one of my family members who lives with me who has no clue about handball, every time that I watch handball with him and that happens, they like, but he landed and didn't release the ball, and they go bananas. I was like, well,
yeah.
And then every time it's like, what is the rule? Tell me the rule again. It's like, well, this is the rule. It's like, yeah, what's going on? Is this professional handball? It's like, yes.
This is
but,
it. Yep. Man.
It's kind of like the NBA with dribbling a little bit, right? Like
yeah.
there's a little bit of leeway there. Speaking of professional handball, Rafa, and this is sort of a transition, but did you see that the World Championship draw occurred today?
Yeah, I followed towards the end to see a little bit. I think when I turned the YouTube channel to see, it was like the last team was being announced.
Oh boy. Okay. Right on time.
What are your thoughts?
There are some tough groups there, like, for example, the group that I think is Norway, France, and Austria.
Yes. And the USA, potentially.
And potentially. So that would be that group is gonna be fire.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously,
like those three teams there, it's in such good level, and honestly, it doesn't matter which North American team goes. They're gonna face like bricks. In other groups, like the Brazilian group, Spain is probably, in my opinion, the strongest there. But the Brazilian national team has slowly proven that they're getting there. They're getting stronger and stronger, and at every tournament they're like impressive wins against Croatia and Iceland and other big league, Russia, less in 2019 World Championships. We'll see. I mean, it's pretty well distributed, in my opinion. But Group F, not Group F, which is Group E, is to say, yeah, that one's gonna catch on fire.
Seriously, and with Brazil too, it's easy to see improvement when you have Brazilian players on Barcelona, when you have Brazilian players on Bezprem. Like it's an actual handball country, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if they have a few upsets here in this tournament like they did in the last World Cup. But yeah, no, it's whoever gets that North American slot, which I just have a feeling, I don't know whether Norca happens or not. I feel like the U.S. is going to get that slot, and holy smokes, welcome to the big leagues, because that will be interesting. That will be a true. We'll see. I don't even know if it'll be a true measuring stick of where the U.S. is, because most of our players are dual citizens. But that will be a good indication of where we will be in 2028 if we continue the same strategy. Because this is, we have probably the strongest team we've had in a long time, but it's still mostly comprised of dual citizens who know how to play handball, who are good handball players. But we'll see. We will see how this goes, because that will be definitely interesting. And again, I have a hunch it's going to be the Americans, not the Canadians, Mexicans, or Cubans who are going to be in that slot. So very, very, very interesting stuff. JD, what say you about the World Championship draw?
I think the Norca slot is a tough one, probably the toughest. I look at the fact that we will have to tap into those Google glasses to try to crack the Saugason code. I think, as Joey said before, we will be sending him a lot of Sudoku puzzles and many deep thought riddles to try to play with his mind a little bit. So
just get him thinking. That's his kryptonite. Is when he's thinking during a game, he plays bad. So we're gonna just really we're gonna give him some mind bending
his mind. Yep. And first we got to find out where he lives. Not creepy at all. So we'll find that out so we can ship him all of these books. Maybe he reads them. Maybe he uses them as fire to fuel his home. I don't know.
Existential philosophy books or something. But quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if he played for 15 minutes if they end up playing against the U.S. That's just there's no good that can come of having the best player.
I mean, not even any of the. Oh, it's so frustrating. I look at some of the other pools and I'm like, this is a cakewalk group. I gotta pull it up because I looked at.
Give me the Uruguay Ivory Coast group.
Yeah, come on. No offense to Uruguay, but they have a decent chance. Even the Group D where it's Denmark, Argentina, Bahrain, Congo. I'd take that one. Oh my gosh, let me find.
Would you though? Would you? If we took Denmark out of that, we'd have
to beat Argentina.
I don't know.
We'd have to beat Argentina. That'd be the tough.
Argentina
they're very good. They beat Brazil at Pan Am's, right? So,
yeah, they did.
That would be the tough.
They
one.
beat it twice.
How do you feel
during the Pan American and then later on the South American competition for the I think Olympics no, not Olympics, for the World Championship. The Olympics was the Pan American. Yeah, it was. I think honestly, watching those matches, it seemed to me that Brazil came a little bit relaxed because once those events happened, they were just had the best results in a World Championship in 2019. Beating Croatia, Russia, Iceland, and other teams. So they came with, I think, a soft mentality, and Argentina and Chile came with some game, and before they realized the trouble they were in, the game got out of control.
How does it feel to see Argentina, overpass Brazil here?
Cannot lie. I cannot lie, but it feels weird, and we don't swallow that very easily. But I give the credit. They were better. They showed a lot of more game. And
and it was a huge favor of whoever split the federations so that the U.S. does not have to play any of those Leviathans in South America. That they were doing the United States a gigantic favor because that is a very tall order to even be on the same court as any of those teams. Those guys are consummate professionals, and those guys are dominating European leagues, whereas. We'll see how we do come this World Championship. So, is there a way where you could apply to be a referee there? Is there slots for North American refs to go to the World Cup and ref?
Well, the way it works is you have to be for those level of tournaments. You have to be on an IHF level, but to get there, it's quite of a hustle and quite a hard work. Yeah, you gotta get into the continental level, which is my next step, and then from there, the Continental Federation will probably have people already watching what you're doing and making recommendations. And once you get a recommendation and you're able to get a spot on the global referee training from the IHF. And that's when you're gonna get in business, getting some training, some heavy physical testing, and then you're probably gonna start to make to that level. You probably will have to start, refereeing junior World Championships, and then under 19, and then under 21, and to get to that level, and then the Olympics, it will take a fairly some good years,
For sure.
But yeah, it doesn't necessarily works as like you put in an application. It's a recommendation from your own federation to the Continental Federation, and then Continental Federation makes a recommendation to the IHF, and then
Gotcha.
once you get inside of there, you just gotta maintain a good working status.
Very cool. Very cool, Rafa. Well, I asked the referee question, and that was my big one for today. So, JD, do you have any closing questions here?
I got a couple more for Rafa. I just had it and I blanked. The first one was, so I have a friend that lives in Sao Paulo, and he's a big soccer guy, and he's sent me videos of post soccer match antics and things like that where it gets real hostile. Have you ever been feared? Have you ever feared for your life after refereeing a game in Brazil, where maybe the outcome wasn't favorable for some teams?
Not as a referee, but as a player.
Oh, as a player. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Huge mess. People, punches.
Oh my gosh.
There's a little bit of our culture. It's a little bit different in my opinion.
Feisty.
And I cannot generalize things that I say, but from my experience, we tend to let things get a little more spiced up. We get pretty intense, and I remember I didn't get involved, but as members of the team that I was playing for, we got involved. So everybody got targeted to be if you're seeing and they know you from that team, that will be possible for somebody to try to do something. I never worried so much, but I avoided being around. Like I was not, after playing games, I'll leave. I will not hang in the venue to watch other games. Just because you could be seen and then start something there. So I'll come in to do the warm up and then play the game right after. Just leave. So that's how I avoided to face those. But as a referee, I think the strongest threat that I got was from nationals in 2019. Two situations. One a player got a little heat up that he got punched in his stomach, and then he immediately just was upset that there was no call, so he comes in and then just kicks the goal really hard, and I took my red card and resolved, and there was a lot of yelling from him, but later on he was cool and then came and apologized for that. So that was very nice. And one from a coach, which shall remain nameless.
Yep.
It was just really saying crap stuff. Like, oh, you just making calls for the team. I'm getting upset. And you better figure it out. Otherwise, I'm going to pursue or make a complaint. That's what I heard. But I just didn't let that affect my, the purpose and with the mindset that I came to the game. And I came with, I'm going to ref what I see and what I think it's fair and what makes sense to me.
Good.
Takes a special kind of person to do what you do, Rafa. So I salute you and commend you for being who you are and the professional that you are.
I got another question in the chat, and then I got one more real quick. So Shane asked, Rafa, you mentioned earlier a much higher number of referees in the U.S. than expected. Can you please repeat that number? And then Shane also wants to know how many of those refs are in the Midwest Great Lakes region.
I like the questions you're asking, Shane. I like it.
Can you repeat the question because the audio got cut off?
Yep, sorry. So total number of referees in the U.S., and then how many of those are based in the Midwest/Great Lakes region?
Yeah, so right now between 30 and 35, I would say. And I have a map here.
The entire United States of America.
Exactly. I draw a map and I put pins on it to see where those referees are. So in the Great Lakes area, there are two.
Oh,
It's me in Ann Arbor and one in Chicago. That's
all right.
that's the only two referees that I am aware of that lives in the Midwest and the Great Lakes area. And there's someone, Dan, who lives in Toronto.
Yeah, Dan's a good guy.
Very good friend.
Shout out Dan.
Very, yeah, he's a hell of a guy. Really nice person.
He came and like refed our entire tournament. Didn't ask for any money. Did all the games by himself. It was he's a trooper. He's a trooper.
He is another passionate guy. You know, he drove from Toronto to Dallas to referee. Drove.
Oh my gosh.
Did not fly. He drove it.
He's crazy, man.
Yeah, Shane.
That's crazy.
Shane's in Flint, and that's not too far from the. There's like a border crossing at Port Huron. So once the border opens back up, we'll have to get in touch with our Toronto friend.
Excellent.
Is there any how is the federation there, like the Toronto area for teams?
Canada's really like kind of messed up. Like
It's more like Alberta.
Toronto, like the Ontario province, is hit or miss. Like Ontario has its solid provincial team, and then like Toronto has like the Handball Club Toronto, and then like Toronto
excellent
HC.
club. Those guys are great.
So there's like a little fight between how, you know, it used to be Toronto HC, and then it was HC Toronto when they split. So there's like an old guard and a new guard, but there's like still kind of like one club. So there's a lot of kind of infighting in Toronto right now.
That's crazy.
Good. There's a lot of good guys there. There's just a couple of higher level leadership groups that are doing little button heads, but yeah, Toronto's got a solid handball base. We went to Canadian National Championships there a couple years ago. Had a good time. So
yeah, I'd love to be able to visit their handball experience. You know, I know in Alberta they have way more opportunities than
yes,
in the U.S. You know, alone.
Alberta probably has more handball refs than the U.S. has handball players. In just Alberta.
Mike, let us know. I think that could be very true. So,
I would bet.
Rafa, last question. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Rafa. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just listening.
I was gonna say my last question here, it's kind of like ridiculous here, is that I see it in soccer games a lot, and some of the high level handball games, the referees have, you know, headpieces like an earpiece to communicate with the other referee. An idea that I had is, what would it take to have us get maybe I know it costs money obviously to get those earpieces, but you could have a professional referee or a high level referee being on the other side of the earpiece for a referee in training and basically watching the game live with them. And so they could communicate with that referee, like, is this a call? Is this no call? And he'd be like, yes, no. So they can understand, get that imprinting, that instinct on what's going on, and kind of things to, like, they could give them tips to watch for during the game. I was going to try to roll it out with our, you know, OSU stuff this year, but I don't know where I can buy that earpiece setup. So just something that I had an idea on, not sure if that's been discussed or what the pathway on something like that would be.
Yeah, you're mainly talking about the internal communication, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an excellent idea. You know, having that mentor and mentee back and forth experience, which already happened. You know, when the in the professional level, when both referees are in the court. The technical delegate also have a headset, and he uses that to, you know, make a little, you know, just like reminding, like, oh, so and so has a yellow card, so and so has a 2-minute suspension, you know. So there's a little bit of advising from the technical delegate, which is, you know, the highest authority in the game. But that will be actually a very good point, you know. Once we get the ball rolling and we have, you know, young referees on the court, to have more experienced referees, telling, giving advice, and vice versa when the experienced ones are in a court and they can hear what they're both talking about, what they're looking for, like that exchange, like nobody really knows what we're talking about when on the headset, but and sometimes it's, it's funny. Sometimes it's really, focusing, what the game is, and sometimes, random conversations comes up, and then we gotta say, "Oh man, shut up! Let's focus on the game." So, yeah, so
funny.
it's and I do like the headset a lot because it truly puts you inside of the game more. It helps you to not hear what's going on around. The yelling from the fans and the coaches here. And I have a couple pairs, and I wanted them that I got out of Amazon. I think I paid like $110. Decent, pretty decent. I could definitely send you guys the link so you can check it out. Very easy to use and doable.
Mishi actually put the link to those exact ones in the Twitch chat. So for all you guys watching and you looking to pick up a headset, check out the Twitch chat. We have just over a minute left in our show, and there's still a couple more questions in the chat. Let's hit a quick intermission. We'll come back and get to those. All right, sound good, everybody? All right, we're gonna end. Restart real quick. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in for our fantastic Saturday edition. We got a lot of viewers, and we're gonna go over some important facts for the future with our program here. I would like to apologize once again for the audio quality at the start of the show. I rearranged. Some of you might see that I've rearranged my setup. So it's kind of I had to replug all my cables in and things like that, and I think that might have skewed what I had programmed and things like that. So I apologize for the audio, but I'm getting my basement finalized here. Got the Bowflex finally set up. Got my table. Got my chair. We're all good. I just gotta kind of figure out what I want to do with these flags. Gotta get a better way to hang them. Dogs are down here. Everybody's having a good time on this fine Saturday evening. I don't know about you guys, but it was a beautiful day today. Wonderful weather in the Columbus area. So we had a great day of golf. Looks like we got everybody back, so I'm going to transition. Okay, we're back. So one of the other questions we had in the chat, Rafa, was what is the plan for a cooperation with beach handball referees?
Yes, yeah, that's a very important topic, and as I have mentioned this to one of to Butsu, our chief referee. This is a part of our culture here. Beach handball is very strong in the U.S., and we will definitely have attention to that too, as well as important to part of our national referee committee. I am on the process of identifying the people who have been around doing those kind of stuff, and Mishi is one of them for sure. I haven't spoke with her yet about this, but I'm slowly gathering a little bit of information to reach out to people and to see to hear them out, to see what their plans and what they wish to see from the federation. I'm not very familiar with that area. I don't know how they run the things, but we definitely have to make an inclusion there, right? We got to make sure we as much as we fight for indoor handball changes, we got to make sure we see where beach handball stands and see where we can help them.
Good to know. Are you ever interested in refereeing beach handball games? Because I feel like they're going to need a lot of beach handball referees for the World Beach Games in Birmingham, Alabama in 2022.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I have a more different desire. I would actually like to play it I've never played beach handball.
It's fun. It's definitely a fun game.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people saying, man, like it's a game that's just like no contact, easy, and if you can just like jump around, do some spins, you have a lot of fun. And I just haven't had the opportunity to be on that setting, but I am interested in learning, the aspects of beach handball and gathering the knowledge, part of my, curiosity, philosophy. Um, I've read the rules and they're not complicated, but just like indoor, you gotta make sure you have them under your fingers.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true. So Mishi says that you guys are going to talk later. So offline, she's going to hook you up here. So we'll get some future beach handball action out of Rafa, which is good. I mean, you're in Florida, man. Like, I realize Orlando is kind of in the middle of the state, but it's a lot easier to get to a beach than Joey and I can get to a beach. Well, Joey can get to
Michigan's got some nice beaches.
Yeah, you got better beaches than Ohio. That's for
Pure
sure.
Michigan.
Yeah, Tim Allen here. Come up to Pure Michigan. So yeah, that's fantastic. I don't have any more referee-related questions for you, Rafa, but I have a couple more topics we need to discuss just for the show purposes. So, if you're cool to stick around for that, that would be fantastic. Joey, do you have any more questions for Rafa? Okay. Obviously this has been fantastic. I hope we got a lot of people that learned a little thing or two. Oh, I do have one more question about refereeing. If we have any listeners out there who either are a handball player, non-handball player, former handball player, just a person listening that wants to get involved, if they want to become a referee, where should we send them to? Do you want me to send them to you? Do you want me to, send them to the moon? How do you want me to process incoming referee interest?
Yeah, I'm handling a lot of the communication part of that. So,
okay.
And everything that happens that comes through to me, I share with Butsu, or the chief referee, and Majid, who, a lot of people don't know. Majid is an IHF referee, high level referee who lives in the US.
Where?
He lives in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, wow. He's originally from Iran, and his partner is from Iran. So he has, he's got some stuff. He reffed on 2008 Olympics, 2016 in Brazil, and right in the backyard here. Everything that comes through me, I share with them, and I follow up. I'm trying to cultivate a good communication habits as well with Melissa, which has been wonderful to work with. Melissa's just a wonderful professional to work with.
Shout out Melissa. She rocks. She's the voice behind USA Team Handball, and she's doing an excellent job.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can definitely send it to me, or you can, people. I don't care how they contact me. If they want to contact through email, Messenger, WhatsApp, or we have a Gmail account to receive those inquiries, which is refereeusath@gmail.com. I have some standards. I don't let anything goes by 48 hours. Anything I get, I like to resolve within 48 hours and follow up with everything, so we don't get, we don't miss anything. So that's part of one of the things that I'm, going for. We need to be very organized and have very good communication, and it starts now.
Yep. Good. All right. Well, I'm gonna share all that information when we do our post-show post about everything. So. Thank you for that, and hopefully you get some people that are interested in refereeing. That would be fantastic. We're continually trying to grow our base, and I hope that this referee course that you guys have been doing is also going to help kind of boost some interest around refereeing. So that's good. That's good. Couple quick things about the show for all our shooters out there. As you probably saw, we've reached the Twitch affiliate level. That is huge for us. It's huge for the show. It's huge for handball. Okay, Joey and I are committed to all money that we gain from this show will go towards handball. So it's really easy for you guys to help us with this cause, and it doesn't cost you anything. You already dedicated your time and internet and Wi-Fi and data and phone battery to support our cause. So all we ask is that I'm going to work with Twitch a little bit to figure out why our subscription button is not available right now. But when that becomes available, you go check out our account on Twitch.
Smash that button.
Smash
it.
You hit your phone so hard
subscribe.
that there's a hole going through your phone. So what it means to subscribe is when you subscribe to our Twitch account, we get it normally would cost you $5 a month to subscribe to our Twitch account. How that works is we get $250, Twitch gets $250. Okay. The caveat here is if you are an Amazon Prime member, you get one free Twitch subscription a month. I'd like to wager that most of our followers are not people that are actively on Twitch following and subscribing to multiple people. So if you use your subscription on us, you don't have to pay anything. You already are an Amazon Prime holder, and we get $2.50 per month from your Amazon Prime subscription. So because we have 50 followers, we're getting all 50 of you guys to subscribe to us. We're bringing in about $100 a month, a little over that, and over the course of the year, that's a good chunk of change. And Joey and I are, big advocates for utilizing that money towards, growing handball, especially in our area. So that's something we really want to sell home about, and we will kind of walk you guys through that once I see that subscribe button become available. We'll be pushing that out there. So thank you to all our shooters out there who've helped make this possible. One other thing that Joey and I wanted to get into is that because we're at the Twitch affiliate level, we have to do a minimum of 8 hours a month of streaming. So we might be doing more shows, but we also might be able to start up a Handball 17 career mode. So over the next couple days, I'm going to be tweeting out some stuff, asking you guys what team you want our guy to be starting with, what his name should be, what position we should have him play, things like that. So I'll probably be doing like 1 or 2 games, every Team Handball Tuesday and Team Handball Thursday. Try to keep it low, maybe like half-hour sessions, so not having a lot of content there, but it's something. So I'll be working on that, buying a webcam for that. If you guys have any input on that, if you think it's a bad idea, we won't do it. But we're here for our shooters, we're here for our fans. So you guys tell us, what you think would be cool. So I'll be tweeting that poll out this week. So share it. Let's get a good number of votes, most vote getters for club, name, and position. That's what we'll be rolling with. So cool. Joey, Rafa, you guys get first dibs on any of those, whether what position, what team, and what the name of the player should be. So if you guys got any ideas, you guys got first dibs.
I'll let our distinguished referee.
I love that. Go ahead, Joey. I'm thinking.
I'm partial towards Frederica, or as the Danes call it, that's the actual Danish pronunciation. Pretty close to it, but that'd be hilarious. I have a friend who actually plays on that, and I saw that that's a team you can play on. And then I think the letter J has to be in his name somewhere.
Absolutely, I agree.
I'm
a big J fan. Big fan of the J names. Okay.
Nice. I love Joey.
JJ McShooter.
JJ McShooter. All right, I'm putting that one. If that doesn't win, shooters, we got a problem. All right.
Yeah, big time problem.
He's got some Irish blood in him. He's repping the J&J. So cool. All right. Well, that's all I got for today. Anybody? You guys got anything else? Rafa, you got any questions for us?
Thank you so much, Rafa. Move back up to Michigan, please.
Oh, absolutely. I thank you once again for having me. It's really nice to hear and to chat with you guys. I know Misha is the number one listener, but I have listened to all of them now.
Okay, good.
And I've been following you guys on Spotify. Every time I'm doing some work, I always put my thing on, and then I have some of you guys on my ear,
Oh boy.
and then listening what you guys up to. So
Rafa's getting that top
yeah,
shooter award.
I
He's
really
working
appreciate
for
it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you for coming on. It was awesome talking with you, and I'm sure we will have you on. Maybe we could do a, reffing with the referee session of the show later down the road. You guys give us like a, we could even have you hear me out. You were talking about, TikTok, Instagram video for instructional, tidbits. You could come on the show for a 5-minute session, do an instructional piece, and then we continue with the rest of the show. Maybe an idea, maybe not. So,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, the tip.
Yeah.
Referee tip of the month.
Yep. Referee
don't do
tip
this.
Of the week. Yeah.
Do this. That's the first one.
Peace.
A
2 minutes.
A lot of referees give 2 minutes like this, but it looks ridiculous. Like you just peace or victory. That's the first one.
All right.
I like that. That's
Good.
powerful right there.
Good. Well, we are going to give our piece to our viewers here. So everybody say thanks to Rafa. And as always...
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Oh.
Yeah, keep shooting,
Por
shooters.
nada. Por nada.
Excellent. All right, for all you guys that didn't see before, you can get Rafa's Instagram account here or find him on Facebook or elsewhere. I will also be putting a little blurb about the email account if you have referee questions you want to find from Rafa. So thank you guys for tuning in. We had a solid show here, solid viewership.